with that, we are ready now to send it over to Studio 2A, where I'm joined tonight by the Jim Howell Band. They've got a full slate of spring calendars, including a performance at the Tucson Folk Festival on April 6th. We'll talk about that and the most recent record, and really whatever else we want to talk about. But first, here's some music from the Jim Howell Band live in Studio 2A.
This one's called Sea Change. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sea change, stuck inside my telephone. I write another smart phrase, one unlike I've said before, because nothing here's familiar, and nothing here will thrill ya. Nothing new, nothing old, no one bought and none are sold. And I try not to know this, it isn't that strange. We're mostly tied unto our face, the countless courses I stray. They stay the same, because nothing here's familiar, and nothing here will kill ya. No silver or gold, nothing new, nothing old, no one bought and none are sold. And I try not to know. Nothing here's familiar, and nothing here will kill ya. And nothing here's familiar, and nothing here will thrill ya. No silver or gold, nothing new, nothing old, no one bought and none are sold. No silver or gold, nothing new, nothing old, no one bought and none are sold. No silver or gold, nothing new, nothing old, no one bought and none are sold. No silver or gold, nothing new, nothing old, no one bought and none are sold. Nothing old, no one bought and none are sold. Sunday morning, without warning, all this time when I was handling everything, expecting I'd have been the one to pack it in, change my life. When I felt that when I hoped that and when I dreamt that I could leave you anytime. Well, I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind. Changed my life. Just when I learned to fill my days with something real, this house is definitely still. It smells of rotten nail. I smoke down a fountain grill and choke down a pile of bills. You've changed my life. And when I felt that that and when I dreamt that I could leave you anytime. Well, I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind. I've changed my life. And when I planned that and when I thought that and when I said that I could leave you anytime, well, I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind. You've changed my life.
You're tuned in to 91.3 KXCI Tucson. This is Locals Only. My name's Matt, and I'm live in Studio 2A with the Jim Howell Band. Thanks for coming down tonight.
Thanks for having us.
So,
all of us.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've got a full house, so why don't we start off with some introductions? Jim, why don't you let us know who you got with you tonight?
So, most of this is my regular band, and then my regular family is added to that. Back behind the drums, we have Kyle Hersey. We have on cello and acoustic guitar, we have Michael Santander. We have Phil over here on the bass. He's also singing. He's been learning some harmonies. It's making me happy because I like singing harmonies. Back here on percussion is Nicholas Howell. Over here on percussion and vocals and sometimes ukulele is Sophia Howell. Over there is the master Lauren Dirks.
Well, Jim, thanks for pulling together the full band and the family band and merging it all together tonight. This is a lot of fun. You've got a busy spring. You had a busy year last year. There's a lot to talk about, but we'll start in the past before we head to the future. So let's talk about the most recent record. When is it that you started laying down tracks for that album?
So I had a couple of songs. That first song we played, Sea Change, and a handful of like 3 other songs were written in 2017 as sort of songs that didn't fit on a record I put out then, or hadn't been written when I was already tracking that and had already slated what songs was going to, comprise that record. But basically, I started writing some stuff in January of 2018. And in about 3 weeks, I had written about 20 songs, and so
wow.
I thought, whoa, I have some inertia here, so I pared that down and added the songs that were holdovers that were sort of my best of 2017 that weren't previously featured on the record. And I just started tracking demos myself, playing all the instruments, which I've done mostly on most of our stuff before, tracking demos that way. But I sort of moved right in from demos to tracking the full record, and had the whole thing recorded and mixed by the end of March.
Wow.
But on the record, I played all the instruments and dealt the vocals myself. And then live, we've sort of added our individual parts to that, depending on the gig, the setup.
So you said in January of 2018, you wrote somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 songs?
Pretty much in about a 3-week period.
Wow.
Yeah, which is sort of normal. I mean, I can write like a song a day usually, but sometimes I have really crazy outputs like that. It seems like January is always that for me. Huh. Like, sort of like a purge of the previous year comes out, and in the beginning of January, just sort of all the songs sort of pop out and ideas.
So when you have spurts like that, typically is it the result of a conscious effort to buckle down and work on your songwriting, or sometimes does it just catch you by surprise and the songs keep pouring out?
Sometimes it's sometimes it's just freedom of I have time in my schedule, which sometimes is the barrier to putting out a lot of songs. Is that I teach music for my job in addition to playing music. So some days I'm packed with 12, 15 lessons in a day, and there's just not time in between with all the regular life stuff to sit down and say, hey, I'm gonna bang around on this song for like an hour and figure out what's going on with it. And then other times it's just a compulsion. Something comes to me and I got to go get it out right now. I think most of the stuff in this current record was like that, where it wasn't really my choice. It was sort of just like it was all coming out as fast as there's a couple days where I wrote more than one song in one day. A lot of them came out really fast.
So when you have such a quick turnaround from writing the songs to then almost immediately starting to track demos and ultimately track the songs that made it onto the album, when it's such a kind of compressed creative process like that, do you find that it's easier or harder to find to have the album find its final shape?
In some ways it's easier because I wasn't taking the time to second guess myself on certain things and say, is this the right guitar tone for that, or is this the right guitar for that? It's sort of like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. All right, next, sort of next thing.
Yeah.
And I think it helps you. Yeah, I think it helps you solidify what you're doing without overthinking it. So I think going faster like that in some ways helps shape the sound of it more than sort of spending a lot of time. I feel like I'll just tinker forever. Yeah. I'm like the second grader that you need to just take the markers away at some point.
Sure.
Like there's already 7 guitars on that.
Yeah.
There's no more guitars necessary for that song. There were 5 guitars more than you needed on that song already.
Now, did you mix the album yourself as well? Or?
I did, yeah. And then I sent it out for mastering because at that point I was like, I will have nothing more to do with this. At I will not listen to this anymore until it's done.
How do you approach when you're mixing material that you've lived for that condensed period of time? How do you bring kind of fresh ears to it after you've been playing those songs, listening to them again and again?
So I think that's another part of the quick process.
Yeah.
You're not already so sick of those songs if you're going fast enough that you can sort of outrun your tiredness of hearing that song.
Right.
But if you tinker around with it for a year, then you're sort of like, I don't even want to play this song anymore. Like, why do I even care about this song? Whereas they're still fresh. You're still working out maybe a quirk or two with vocal, melody or a harmony, or maybe even a lyric is still kind of coming to form, but you've already pretty much got all the parts together, so it's sort of all moving so fast that you don't have time to get sick of things. And mixing becomes easier too, because if you're not overthinking and you're not layering in the 7 guitars that I would naturally want to do if I had time.
Right. So let's talk about the next piece of that process. You wrote the songs, you started working on demos, and then it was time to start unleashing some of these songs in a live setting. Tell me, how do you then take those songs that you've been writing and recording on your own and translate them into full band arrangement with other players?
So everybody gets stuff in Dropbox, you know, and like, here's the song, you know, come up with the, you know, your approximation of the bass line that is somewhat relative to what I was playing. Sometimes Phil learns sometimes note for note stuff, and other times he has his own kind of thing he throws around on that. Michael has a little bit more freedom because there's not cello on it, so he sort of gets to sort of like, hey, look at me, I can make up what I want.
Right.
You know, as far as the drums, I think they're sort of the same. There's an approximation of what you're hearing that I did, you know, and, you know, Kyle's sort of, you know, bringing his own thing to that. I think everybody's sort of in that boat. When we do this sort of configuration, we've done this sort of configuration for the Folk Fest a couple times. It's kind of nice because then all those tambourine tracks that I don't really want to lose, they get there, and a conga thing, or, you know, those little extra things, and Sophia can sing harmonies and things like that, and she could hit those really high notes that I hit in the studio when I'm all by myself, you know, hitting all that falsetto stuff with my headphones on.
Right.
You know, she can hit that, and it's in her range, so makes it easy.
So we're going to talk about the shows that you have coming up on the calendar during our next break. But before we do that, what's the best way for people to keep track of upcoming shows, news, find your music? Yeah,
I mean, Facebook's always a good way. We have a Facebook page, the Jim Howell Band. Everything's pretty much the Jim Howell Band. You know, various things, or Jim Howell Music. My website is jimhowellmusic.com. It has an events page, so I usually list my gigs there. Bandcamp has my music to download and or buy a CD, and I'll ship it to you, or drive it over to your house if you live in Tucson. Or if you don't want me to know your address, I'll send it to your P.O. box. Then, you know, the stuff's on Apple and iTunes and everywhere else, so, you know. I have a Reverb Nation account also that I keep my calendar on there too.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
All right, well, back to the music with the Jim Howell Band here live on Locals Only on KXCI Studio 2A.
The title of tracks, or what we're going to play next, there's two songs, Burn It Down and Bleeding Heart. Need much more distortion. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes you gotta look away. Sometimes you gotta drive for days. Sometimes you wish it all would fade. Sometimes you gotta burn it down. But you don't have the strength. But you don't have to wait. You take what you can take. You can't blink and make it go away. You can't hide and hope it all will change. Two hands to keep it straight. Don't look or hesitate. Speeding fast on the interstate. Speeding fast off the edge of town. But you don't have to wait. Ignite and watch the flame. So much you can take. You can't blink and make it go away. You can't hide and hope
hope it all will change. You don't have the strength, but you don't have to wait. Take what you can take, and blink and make it go away. You can't hide and hope it all will change. Every moral fiber of mine bleeding hot. Every and every cell will do their part. Militant and confident will stand my ground. At war with the self, will be found. I live in love. I learn your trust. I will forgive. Every moral fiber of mine are bleeding hearts, and down, and every girl will do their part. Stand together hand in hand, we will resist. Picking up each other and we'll put down our fist. Trust. I will forgive. trust. I will forgive. I live in love. I live in trust. Every moral fiber of our bleeding hearts. 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 Sunshine's filtered rays marvel at the dust caught within our gaze. Suddenly the room's gone cold and gray. I close my eyes and resignate. Fill the graves a little every day and walk past the words we say. You say there ain't no such thing as sin. We're holding on to redemption. Joke around about suicide. I hate myself cause I wish you tried. Seen better men gone off and died. While you breathe new life in every life. Every day walk past the words we say. Say there ain't no such thing as sin. We're holding on to redemption. And no one's saved but sorry souls. Redemption, the telltale heart's blackest hole. Redemption, life's on hold. Redemption, and no one's saved but sorry souls. Fill the graves a little every day and walk past the words we say. You say there ain't no such thing as sin. We're holding on to redemption. And no one saved but sorry souls. Redemption, the telltale heart's the blackest hole. Redemption. Life's on hold. No one saved but sorry souls. Redemption. 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 No one saved but sorry souls. Redemption.
We're gonna change setup real quick and play one more song. So this next song is called Sunrise, which I guess is sort of an appropriate song. Title after redemption. It's also the beginning of Lent right now, so it sort of all fits into my master plan. Watching the sunrise, strumming on this old guitar, little more hope than harm, a worn out feeling, sleep where the dogs lie, softly breathing all the sound, peaceful rest for all the hounds. Meet with the morning, an orange bus with blue, billows of white, starring teeming you, teasing with light. The sun makes its entrance, it shines upon my broad north wall. Pictures of our kids' life falls, increasing the meaning. Bus with blue, billows of white, sky teeming hues, increasing with light.
watching the sunrise and strumming on this old guitar. A little more hope than harm, and a brand new feeling. Watching the sunrise and strumming on this old guitar. A little more hope than harm, and a bright new day.
You're tuned in to 91.3 KXCI Tucson. This is Locals Only. My name's Matt, and I'm here live in Studio 2A with the Jim Howell Band. Thanks again for coming down tonight, Jim.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having us, Matt.
So we're hearing some songs off of last year's release, Burn It Down, Bleedin' Heart, and you've got a busy calendar coming up in the spring, including first up playing over at the Tucson Folk Festival.
Yeah.
And will you be doing this arrangement for Folk Festival?
Sort of, yeah. I think minus Kyle. Nick might be on snare drum. I might add another player. We'll see who's available and can come down for a half hour, like sort of deal with traffic and parking. And hopefully their instrument is one they can carry just in one hand.
There you go.
Sort of sometimes hard, especially if we're trying to wrangle a bunch of people on stage.
Right.
What's that? Didgeridoo, right, yeah. Maybe a double didgeridoo. Didgeridoo. Yeah. That's words from Lauren.
And so you've played the Folk Festival before.
Yeah, so as this band that's, I think, our third year in a row, I've played as a side guy in other bands
Sure.
In the past as well. Yeah.
And what do you enjoy about playing that particular event?
Well, I like that people actually listen. There's a lot of times we were playing in a place that might be a restaurant or might be a nightclub, and you're either on the corner of the patio or you might be actually on a stage, but there's people that are talking, they're kind of hanging out. The folk festival, it's like drop a pin, dead silence. Everyone's watching. Their eyes are on you, and they're really paying attention, listening to lyrics and things, and laughing at the inside jokes and lyrics. Sometimes they're like, "Whoa, they caught that! Wow." They actually listened. So that's a really great thing. People are really there for songs and for the bands to really sort of portray what they're going to be able to do, which stripped down acoustic, you can't hide behind a pedal board with 9 pedals on it or whatever.
Right.
You just sort of have what you have there. It's direct and immediate, which is really cool. Yeah.
And that's going to be on April 6th over on the Presidio Museum stage, 5:30 to 6 at the Tucson Folk Festival. And there'll be dozens of other performers over the course of the weekend in multiple stages.
Yeah, I think you can see 12 bands on each stage, on multiple stages, each day,
and more information is on the Tucson Folk Festival's website about that. And then you've got a second Saturday's gig a week later in April, and you have already started booking out some summer shows as well at the Racket Club, May 31, Crooked Tooth, June 8th. So a lot on the calendar coming up, and as you mentioned before, jimhowellmusic.com is a good way for folks to keep track, as well as all the regular social media sites.
We're on them all. Yeah.
Before we wrap up the night with our last set of music here, the one thing that I was curious, you mentioned before that obviously by day you're a music teacher as well, that you teach private lessons, and you've been sharing your songs with us tonight. You mixed the album. I mean, you really wear pretty much as many different hats in the musical world as one can wear. And if you could pick one thing of all the different hats you wear as a musician and music-related person, what's your favorite?
It's still playing guitar and singing. Has been for many years, but I don't dislike doing other things. I'm lucky to be able to do a lot of different things. On Friday, I got to play with my friend Lydian at Westbound, playing drums, which is another one of my favorite things to do. Sometimes it's just really nice to get behind the drum set and just, bang on stuff, and make a lot of noise, or not so much noise. Sometimes it depends on the gig, but I think still, playing guitar, even though I think, maybe it's not my best instrument, but playing guitar and singing is my favorite.
There you go. Jim Howell Band. The most recent album is Burn It Down, Bleedin' Heart, and you can find more information if you look up the Jim Howell Band on any of the music streaming services or social media services, or go to jimhowellmusic.com. We've got time for a few more songs, and why don't you play us out?
Yeah, we're going to play the title track from 2017 release. This is La Cienega.
Of her hair lies down beside me. Long, long, long day simply drifts far away. She offers a kiss, bourbon to drink, and tells me of all the ways and everything in between. Fast asleep, holding tightly to me. I can feel how she breathes and feel safe in my keep. I stay here my days and nights in between. This place I call home, a little ranch of my dreams.
the whole solo, Lauren, on Reaching for Nothing. This is also off the La Cienega EP. This is called Reaching for Nothing. When the days stretch on, keep a kicking me down. I try to get up, but can't get off that ground. Sometimes I get tired, reaching for nothing. I put you up on a pedestal. I could see you oh so well, withdrawn by the side, in plain sight where I could hide. And I tried so doggedly to get you to notice me. Think I'll call you on the phone. I'm sure you're there, but you're not home. Write down words you can't ignore, with no reply for 1 week more. And I try so doggedly to get you to notice me. When the days stretch on and keep kicking me down, try to get up but can't get off that ground. Sometimes I get tired, reaching for nothing. Another day of 9 to 5, unmarried but not alive. Hand to mouth and feet to street, unopened mail and mouse to feed. Oh, never-ending need for the things you cannot keep. When the days stretch on and keep kicking me down, try to get up but can't get off that ground. Sometimes I get tired, reaching for nothing. Lauren Dirks, Twisters. So I pull a bottle off the shelf. Bourbon makes me feel good about myself. Maybe I'll light another cigarette. That old black lung ain't killed me yet. Oh, I think I'll just get stoned and serenade myself to sleep. And when those days stretch on and keep kicking me down, I try to get up but can't get off that ground. Sometimes I get tired, reaching for nothing. And when those days stretch on and keep kicking me down, I try to get up but can't get off that ground. Sometimes I get tired, reaching for nothing. Sometimes I get tired, reaching for nothing. Sometimes I am tired, reaching for nothing. Here's one about our fair city, one in which KCI Community Radio makes a better place. Thanks, Matt, for having us. We're the Jim Howell Band. And I'm from Tucson. You spell it with a C first. Down in Baja, Arizona. Out in the wild, wild west, not far from Tombstone.
whiskey, guns, and saloons. Ain't seen no water since the last good monsoon. I'm friends with the daylight, look forward to a clean night air and the setting sun here, better than anywhere. And you can drink peace of sorrow, hold on for what it's worth. Oh, Pueblo, make it gone tomorrow, just as long as you don't go and search. Can try and head out tomorrow to Tulsa, Flag, or Fort Worth. But old Pueblo could never let go, so bring you down, right down to her. It doesn't matter where you came from. Rose up from this old hand, broke the Brents in California, crawled north on 60 miles of sand, but you hear you're never ditching it. Send no town of gravity across below you. Now you can never ever leave. Thanks, Tucson. Thank you for wherever you're watching.
We're the Jim Howell Band. Come see us again. Thanks, Matt, for hosting. Thanks, Duncan, for doing sound.